Here in this video, let us start a very interesting and important chapter, coordinate geometry. We will start this chapter with introduction. What is coordinate geometry? By the name of this chapter, coordinate geometry, this is obvious. This is a kind of geometry. So a geometry which you study or which have been designed with the help of coordinates of points is known as coordinate geometry. I mean, this is a geometry where you use coordinates of points is called coordinate geometry. This is important to note what are coordinates or coordinates of points. What are coordinates? Very important. Let's make it clear very easily. We are taking a horizontal line and a vertical line. So clearly these two lines are perpendicular to each other, intersecting at right angle. So you write O here. This is known as origin. Okay? And you know, lines can be extended up to infinity in both the sides. Similarly, here vertical line can also be extended up to infinity both the sides. Correct? And let us use some suitable scale for writing here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on at equal distances. Correct? And in the left side of the origin, these integers will be negative, -1, -2 and so on. So here -1, here -2, here -3, here -4 and so on. Correct? And at this point, this is origin, at this point this is 0. Means number system here, I mean integers, positive integers starting from 0. So in right side these are positive integers, or you can say all real numbers are here. Between 0 and 1 there are infinite real numbers. Similarly in the negative side there are negative numbers, and in the upper part of this vertical line numbers are positive like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. And in the lower side of the origin, lower side of this horizontal line, these are negative numbers, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and so on. Here this horizontal line is known as x-axis. This is known as x-axis. Generally it is written as x dashed is x-axis. Similarly the vertical line, let us write here y and here y dash. Vertical line y dash is known as y-axis. Correct? And this entire diagram on this plane is known as Cartesian system, Cartesian plane, axis system. This is known as axis system on this plane, on this Cartesian plane. Correct? We are taking any point here. Suppose this is point P. So as we have discussed, coordinates are used to locate a point. We draw perpendicular here on x-axis, which is meeting x-axis at this point 3. Similarly, let us draw perpendicular from here on y-axis, which is meeting y-axis at the point 2. So inside a bracket we write here 3, 2. The first value 3 indicates the distance of this point from origin along x-axis. And this second number 2 indicating distance of this point from origin along y-axis. Here this order pair 3, 2 is known as coordinates. This is known as coordinates of point P. Very simple. The first number 3 is called x coordinate. 3 is called x coordinate of P. This is called abscissa also. And the second number 2 is known as y coordinate of this point, y coordinate of this point P. This is known as ordinate also. Y coordinate of P or ordinate. 3 is x coordinate of P or abscissa. So now this is clear that this ordered pair 3, 2 is known as coordinates of the point P which we are. So with respect to different points, we will get different coordinates depending upon distance of the point from x-axis and distance from y-axis. This is important to note that all these coordinates of P are positive here. Sometimes coordinates may be negative also. Let us make it clear. So before coming to that point, we should note that this axis system x, x dash and y, y dash dividing this plane in 4 parts. Part number 1, 2, 3 and 4. And each part is known as a quadrant. This is first quadrant. This is second quadrant. This is third quadrant. This is fourth quadrant. And in the first quadrant, both the coordinates of any point are positive. Here, both the coordinates x and y will be positive. In the second quadrant, x will be negative. -1, -2, -3, -4 are here. So x will be negative and y will be positive along this side in this quadrant, second quadrant. All these numbers are positive, +1, +2, +3. So coordinates are minus, plus. First coordinate is minus, second coordinate is plus. Similarly, in the third quadrant, both are minus, both the coordinates are minus. And in the fourth quadrant, x coordinate will be plus along this side and y coordinate along this side will be minus. So depending on the point lying on different quadrants, we can see that some of the coordinates are positive, some of the coordinates are negative. Correct? So now this is clear that this system is known as axis system, and this axis system has been drawn in a plane. This plane is known as Cartesian plane. This plane is known as Cartesian plane. So hope now you have understood that what are the coordinates. What are the coordinates of point? So coordinates are used to locate a point on a given plane with the help of axis system of x and y axis. So very simple, correct? So the geometry wherein we study with the help of coordinates of a point is known as coordinate geometry. Again, this is important to note that coordinate of all the points on the x-axis, y coordinate will be 0. Suppose you take any point, suppose you take point Q here. So distance of this point Q from origin is 4. So x coordinate is 4. But since this point is lying on the x-axis itself, So distance from origin to this point is 0 because this point lying on x-axis itself. So distance from x-axis is, distance from x-axis along y-axis is 0. So y coordinates of all the points lying on x-axis are 0. Y coordinates of the points lying on x-axis are 0. Similarly, if you take any point along y-axis, suppose you take any point, suppose R here, then here x coordinate will be 0 because when we draw perpendicular on x-axis from this point R, the foot of perpendicular is coinciding with origin 0. So the distance of this point R from origin along x-axis is 0. So x coordinate is 0 and obviously y coordinate is here -4. So similarly we can write here that also x coordinates of the points lying on y-axis are 0. Example is point Q. Correct? So these are very basic concepts on coordinates. Hope you have understood it. And in the next video, we will see distance formula, which is very interesting, very important. So remain in touch with these videos and hope you have subscribed this channel. Please share these videos with your friends also. Wish you all the best.